Hi, are you like me and absolutely crazy about Seiko and love dive watches? Then take 2 minutes to follow along here. Hi, my name's Christian and I run the Instagram handle Applescoff. I'm incredibly passionate about watches, especially dive watches. When we talk about dive watches, it's hard to ignore Seiko. Seiko has been, well, on the market for many years and has been very prominent in the dive watch segment too. Today, I'm going to tell you a bit about my Seiko SPB143. Yeah, you could say. If you're into dive watches, as I said, then you've definitely seen this watch, which came onto the market a couple of years ago. It's absolutely the top of Seiko's Prospect series, which is their diving series. It's just a notch above in terms of quality many of Seiko's other models. I think they've also hit the nail on the head with the size. Often Seiko watches can be quite bulky on my relatively small wrists. I know we all say that, but I think on my wrist it can seem quite bulky with the larger Seiko models. So they've got this one spot on. If we could just talk a bit about the measurements. So the case is 40.5 millimeters wide. Lug to lug here it's 47.6, and that means it's a watch that's quite easy to wear without it feeling too chunky. The height is 13.2 millimeters. So even though it's a dive watch and obviously has to be quite robust, it's actually a good height for it to slide under a shirt sleeve. So a really nice watch size-wise. It's a 6R35 movement inside, and unlike many of the, you could say, slightly older movements, it has a power reserve of 70 hours. You could say the slightly older 7S26 movements found in many older Seiko models were much lower in power reserve. I think it's 48 hours or 42 hours or something like that. So that means you can leave it for a while without having to wind it. There's obviously a screw down crown too. As it's a dive watch, it's rated to 200 meters. And I'd say it's only at 200 meters that I'd start wearing it in the water. I know they say that a watch rated 200 meters can also easily be worn in the water, but yeah, I'm a bit uneasy about it when there's no screw down crown, I must say. But this one has it, and it handles water and diving really well. I think it's a very versatile watch. It has a really nice grey sort of sunburst dial, and I'd say if you take it off the bracelet and put it on a leather strap or on a slightly nicer NATO strap, then it actually looks really good, a bit more dressy. Conversely, you can also dress it down quite a bit. If you put on a sort of heavy ribbed NATO strap, then it becomes a bit more casual. Often I actually have it on the bracelet as I have it here. It's again clear to feel that it's just a notch up in terms of quality compared to many other Seiko models. Clasp down here with a diver's extension and so on. So yeah, in terms of quality, it's really nice, I think. If you want to do a size comparison, you can use a model from Seiko that most people are familiar with. Now, I have an SRP53 here. It's that SKX size that most people know. You can see that, size-wise, it's a bit smaller and a bit less chunky to wear. You could say, now this one is also, it's on an SKX or an SKX bracelet, which is also a bit more rattly. But the case itself, you can see it's a bit less substantial. It's quite clear when you have it on your wrist. Design-wise, it draws a load of inspiration from the first Seiko diver's watch that came out in '65, this 62MA's model. If you look at them side by side, you can clearly see that there are some design similarities in the dial and so on. But of course, it's a watch with modern specifications here, so yeah, quality-wise, with the crystal and so on, you can say it's something else entirely. There's anti-reflective coating under the crystal, and there's a slight dome effect on the crystal as well. And it is, of course, sapphire. The bezel insert, unlike many other models, is made of steel. It's a bit funny, many models are switching to ceramic bezels these days. But again, perhaps to maintain some of this vintage look, they've actually made it in this sort of It's a bit hard to explain, a sort of brushed steel effect. But it's supposed to be made of steel and will, of course, be able to take on some patina. Unlike the ceramic bezels on many others, I don't really think that's a problem. I think watches should be allowed to have a bit of patina and a bit of history. So, but yeah, all in all, a watch that I use a lot, and it's part of the rotation, and I'd say it's often the one that goes on the wrist in the morning. If you have any questions, you're very welcome to go to my Instagram. As I said, my Instagram handle is Abelskov. There are also many pictures of this one there, so comment and ask questions there. I love geeking out over watches, so any dialogue about watches is always welcome. So thanks for taking a few minutes to watch. Bye.